You might say it is the space from whence all appearances arise. And the potential of that field then creates a spiraling potential, which becomes mother exteriorized on the way to matter, and father exploring, or positive and negative. So the magnetism potential then gives rise to two additional streams that we recognize in our own bodies as positive and negative mother and father. And we see that there is a third stream or a third energy that we call cohesiveness, and basically cohesiveness is love. We can give it scientific names, and ultimately to recognize that cohesiveness, it is really to recognize the love of the universe, the love of consciousness as it explores itself and observes those who are forgotten, that they are united in this field of love, and has great compassion. So as we observe these three spiraling energies, or these becomes four, because even the magnetism has its own spiral, then we understand the four phases of the tetrahedron. What does it mean, the four phases of the tetrahedron? It basically means the energy potential of our dance, our exploration, most particularly our minds, that energy potential can be revealed and can be made manifest. So there is much talk about manifesting our dreams, and there is much talk about positive thought, positive activity. And some of the early teachers of those methods, like Napoleon Hill and the founder of the Church of Science, where they do not use Christian Science, where they recognize that illness is a construct of mind, therefore they do not use medication before energizing and actualizing the seed of their awakened wisdom. So through this understanding of the spirals of energy as consciousness and not separate from what is perfect and profound, people call themselves to the remembrance of wellness. So another analogy that works, so we think of a chord made of four notes. So we'll say C, E, A, G, or C, E, G, and B. And we'll think of that chord as holding the place for the sound potential of people to arise as action. The suffering or confusion arises when people forget that the appearing dissonance between absolute and relative, people experience that as dissonance. So in the absolute sense, we are not separate from awakened wisdom. And in the relative sense, the packages of belief systems, in a sense, wrap one in an egg of conceptual belief, and we also see the world through those concepts. So the ah sound basically is about those moments we break through. Ah, seeing. Ah, how wonderful. So the I is to break through those conceptualizations and remember again exactly who we are and why we are. So, human being, it is a dance of subatomic particles that gives rise to each of us. The appearance of the human being, it is like a bubble arising from the ocean spray, momentarily individually, and again returning to the sea. So what are we? Are we, in the relative sense, we're human beings with the incredible opportunity to explore the potential of the field. And in the ultimate sense, we have not ever left that awakened mind. But how do you know? And is it important? Well, yes. How do you know? You test it. You test, how can I think I'm a concrete human being, that it is just me that exists? Well, how did I get here? I came here through a line of parents. And where do they come from? They too have come through a line of parents. And what are they? They are basically molecules. And the molecules carry information. And the subatomic particles of those molecules also carry information. And so the information of their experience flows through us. And in a sense, we can directly perceive that yesterday and tomorrow are occurring right now. So this spiraling dance of information is also recorded in our DNA. And people think that what you inherit is fixed. In actuality, our DNA is like an antenna that is receiving energy from the vastness of the universe. So this antenna has access and continually has access to the light of clear awareness, is the light of clear awareness, and is impacted and expresses our belief systems on a cellular level. So what we think about ourselves has an impact upon our well-being, the background chatter, and also the projections of one's mind and the projections of others. And so we may replace that chatter of dissonance. That chatter, and what is the dissonance, is awareness that, hey, there's a wisdom world, and then there's my life that doesn't look like wisdom all the time. So what do you pacify, and what is it that you want to purify? Well, first you pacify that conflict, the conflict of thinking you are separate from that seed of awakened wisdom. No one is separate from that seed of awakened mind. Not one of us. We are all connected. And so the spiraling tendrils of thought that give rise to who we think we are very much are the result of our families, our education, and basically mirroring back what other people have said they think you are. And this becomes a small feedback loop that keeps human beings locked in internal and external struggle, because there is no you who is an enemy. There is no them who is not connected with us. The enemy is our own ignorance and fear of recognizing and accepting that wisdom being that we are. So there are handouts for you that you will get later. Now I wish that we just get acclimated and we visit in the light and you take these words in like you never heard them before. Just take them in, because it's not anything you've heard before. So consider that we are here right now together, and we have a precious opportunity to unravel the wisdom of our own minds. So still thinking about the four faces of the tetrahedron and the spiralic dance in certain sacred designs, such as St. Peter's Basilica, and also there is a very famous, it may also be in Rome, an old synagogue where there are four pillars. So the pulpit in St. Peter's Basilica has four huge spiraling, wondrous and beautiful wood spirals holding the roof, which is also a canopy, and when you look closely, that canopy is also a pyramid. And what it represents is the ongoing dance of wisdom. And the old Cherokee view, and also shared by the Lummi, is that there are four chords, and they are composed of spiraling threads that support a crystal plate that is a vibrating field, that is the basis of our lives and our dance of exploration. So it is beyond a cultural view, it is beyond one group or another, it is a truth that all views arise from. That these spiraling four pillars, they give rise to form, and the dance of creation is ongoing, and we ourselves are not separate from it. So, in this moment, again, contemplate the rainbow torus rings as the imagery has been described in that video, and perhaps you can, it seems the box of torus rings are left at home. So can we zoom in on this? Is it possible, or shall you? Really? Wow, technology is amazing. Yeah, that's good.
Yes,
Thank you.
human technology and the human zoo.
Uh-huh. And then you can also take a picture of there are two other pictures here. You can focus in.
Okay.
This represents the spiraling winds, the four crosses, or the four crosses, and this is the spiral action of the golden mean. So to focus on each of those small pictures. Thank you. Thanks, Jennifer. So I invite you again, sitting with the spine erect, tongue on the roofs of the mouth, to be aware of cascading waves, ripples of grace flowing through you, that it arises within and also without. Simultaneously, you recognize your connection within a field of light. Spine erect, tongue at the roof of the mouth. maintain that subtle awareness, one's own heart and the field of the heart resonating with the universe, aware of the gift of the trees, the gift of the seas that nurture each of us with oxygen, and mindful of those elements such as argon, which have been exhaled by awakened beings of the past as they move through us. Observing the threads, the ripples of information that you consider I and self. Observe how these threads of information are connected with the pulse of the earth. And those pulses are moving through the fluid of your nervous system. The sacrum and the crown, they pulse with the heartbeat of our earth, who sings in resonance with the sun and this universe. Observe one's heart, its pulsing, its rhythmic field. Remembering and offering thanks for the exploration, the dance. Aware of the sacrum like a drum, resonating with the pulse beat of the universe. A dance goes on, a dance occurs. symbolized by a tetrahedron, form arising within, shaped by our view and our speech. We choose to cultivate the voice of invitation, inviting the wisdom potential within self and others to arise. In a sense, we can consider that chant as an overtone of the energy that has arisen from the emptiness of space, a black hole, through which light is emitted, energy arises. How did the universe begin? Does it have a beginning or an end? All is happening simultaneously. And so that chant can be considered an echo of the sound of energy that is coming out of what some would call it a quasar. That energy arising, or the energy that it appears as a jet around a black hole, where some think it is the speeding up and the destruction of energy, and others contemplate it is actually the transference of energy from another state into actualization. So in terms of our bodies, in terms of our solar system, the very earth, she resonates, we resonate with a pulse, a song that comes from the heart of space. Energy arising as potential, which can be examined as a quasar giving birth to light, or a black hole where there's some question whether it is sucking energy in or sending energy out. To consider that is an ongoing dance that has a pulse. And so the ripples in the wave, they are similar to the wave of our thinking and our experience. All that we see are carried on that wave. The very energy that began as that song bursts forth, it still moves within each of us. The dust that became the stars is also within each of us. So that visualization of the tetrahedron and the chant is something very basic. I am told that it is also something very profound, and that in some cultures is considered the highest teaching, the bare bones, the heart of the matter. Whatever it is defined as, the teaching, it is really tested by your application. So when we understand that all things are a wave, and we understand that we ourselves are in resonance with the field, and we apply that understanding to creating positive remembrance for those who have forgotten, to create pathways for well-being for those who do not recall the original song, then we are applying this knowledge appropriately. Knowledge, you can fill a cup with it until it overflows. If there is not compassion and generosity and skillful activity, then it doesn't mean much. So what's skillful activity? In a sense, it's reminding those others who have forgotten that we are all united in the field, is reminding each other. Yes, salvation, wisdom, it is within us. We don't need to wait for some special beings to come from elsewhere, because they've left their messages, those who have explored, within us. And where is elsewhere? Elsewhere is somewhere we chose not to look, but let's look. We're looking now at what is elsewhere. So elsewhere, we can say there is the residence of our most perfect awakened nature. Elsewhere, somewhere, we are the most awakened beings. Somewhere I'm skinny and still a ballet dancer. You know, those echoes still ripple in space. And so the somewhere of that ideal being is also right here. So I invite you to contemplate, okay, here we are, this is the time in life, because there are cycles. And so just as there is the movement of the season, there are also cycles in our own lives. So I invite you to contemplate how to reside in your body of awakened wisdom and to express the knowledge that you have acquired and are, so that all beings may remember our natural state. So we're looking at first visualizing, recognizing that ideal of who we think we are. Then recognizing the seasons of the physical body in the expression of that ideal. And then how do we share that with others? So, and this will be ongoing homework. And just now I invite you to contemplate the residence of your awakened state and fully be in there. Be that awakened being that you are. That awake being, understanding the cycles of change, the dance, also considers, okay, apportionment of time, because in the relative world, we have time to do things. We know that the harvest is a time of things, and we celebrate the harvest time. And in some cultures, it also has been in Cherokee culture, it is the beginning of the new year when you have the harvest, that all people may have what they need, they may have what they want. And what is harvested and what is the energy that sustains us? On a simple level, we can observe the element of the earth. It is the sacred ground. It also gives strength with the water to our bones. We also have the ability to transform energy, breaking down to build anew, again with the energy of the earth and fire. And we consider, oh, water, sweet water, it is emollient, and it most importantly is the memory of the very beginning. In each molecule of water is the memory of the beginning. In a sense, it is also a mirror of how we are caretaking the earth and one another. So the impure water is a state of planetary impure mind, individual impure mind, and the purification of the water made pure by people's hearts and minds dedicated to pacifying the dissonance between our awakened state and ignorance. And how is this done? By seeing in that dissonance its overtones, a tone that carries us into a key of resolution. And the resolution within our hearts is through the medicine of appreciation. Understanding that the spiraling energy of the universe, the element of earth, air, fire, sound, water, they are moving through us. And through the blessings of this conversation, we ourselves take on the robe of this human body. And so, how wonderful and precious it is. And consider, what does the earth wood tell us about the message of the tree. The tree reminds us to be firmly rooted in the moment, firmly rooted in the now, and supple enough that we move with the wind. That is, we are not fixed in our concepts or a belief in this or that. We are supple enough to move with the wind. And like the tree's leaves, we offer something to the universe, and at the same time we are receiving. And the deeper message of the tree, which I think is helpful to each human being about our own emotions and consciousness, is that where the trees have deep roots, they bring water, water from deep in the earth. And in their sinuous dance, they also invite water to fall from the sky. So, rooted in the moment, understanding that the moment is ephemeral and constantly changing, also consider the medicine of the tree, rooted in the now. What are the seeds that are generated by that tree? The seeds arising from our speech, our belief system, our conceptualizations. What seeds shall fall to seed something to benefit others? So we think we know we're this or that, and then we keep looking, and well, you peel away and you recognize collection of belief systems, collection of you. And the appearance, the dream being that is exploring the world, does it create something good? Are we energizing remembrance in every being we meet? So there are certain behaviors we know get in the way of wisdom, and that is enmity with family of origin. That makes for a great dissonance in the electric field of one's human body. And also, when we have gifts and we do not use them, this also creates disturbance in the field for one's own being and also for those around. So when you have intelligence, or you can create beauty, or you have the gift of music or the gift of healing, whatever is your gift, and when you decide to not use it or sit on it, this becomes a disturbance in the field of your own body-mind. Also, when you make a promise, you make a commitment, and you don't keep it, this also creates dissonance in the field and has an impact upon your physical body as well. So our thoughts and speech are in truth not separate from our physical body. And when we cause harm to the environment, also this has an impact upon our body. Sometimes it is collective, where the water courses may have been changed and you didn't make the right prayers and offerings when you changed it, and the energy beings of the earth may harm you, and this shows in skin disease and mental confusion. And then the most chaotic sound, thought, vibration is when you get direct inspiration. When you have direct inspiration and you choose not to listen to it. When you have received that direct inspiration and your mind says, oh no, I don't have time for that, oh no, it can't be real, then you are creating a dissonance in your field. And so considering now and there's research that's began in 1998 by scientists in Russia, and you can Google DNA and light. Even sound, the words we say and the words we think have an impact on our DNA system. So you may think, how can Some people in the same family, some supposedly have a gene for breast cancer and ovarian, some get it, and others in the same family supposedly carrying the same gene don't get it. It is quite possible that people address the potential of health, and therefore whatever appeared as um, as potentials for this or that, they are actually transformed by the people's commitment and thought process of well-being. And that is not to say that if someone gets sick, it's their thought, their fault, or their thinking, because there is a dynamic relationship. So the individual, whatever is arising, has been chosen to experience and explore. So, for example, when very often people who decide to go on a deep spiritual quest will find all of their thought forms and their obstructive belief systems arising with a vengeance. And perhaps like St. George slaying the lion, that, or St. Patrick sending the snakes out of Ireland, it is a symbol of our own consciousness, taming the dissonant factors within our own view. So what we like or don't like can become an energy of dissonance. Too much pushing away disturbs one's field, because then it is nurturing fear and nurtured by fear. Withholding love is most disturbing to one's own well-being. So you think that one group is more deserving of love than another, or so-and-so did not behave well. They didn't do what I wanted, so I'm going to withhold love. Well, that's not love if you can withhold it. That is something somewhat of energy of power manipulation. The real energy of love is just a field that's unconditioned. It is there. So how do we make that clear in our relationships? Just as the geometric shapes have faces, vertices, and ascents, our relationships, we can establish healthy boundaries, healthy permeable boundaries. In a sense, every being sits within sacred space. Wherever you are, wherever you go, is sacred space. You are sacred space. You are within it. And so the issues of confusion, of dissonance, like or dislike, and also sometimes people harm each other, do very unkind things. And so how does one make a change so that one is not reacting, giving more back to the energy of unkind activity? When like a 2-year-old throwing a tantrum, they can stomp up and down, and the more you say, come do it this way, the more entrenched they become in that belief system. Because I know a lot of people who've been 2-year-olds, and they each demonstrate in their own way their proclivity to hang on to a certain view. And when I just sit back and say, oh, well, here's what I was thinking. Then eventually the flailing around, it stops. And we come to an agreement about how we want to do something and where we're going to go together. So in a sense, the code of right relationship is like establishing a boundary of good relationship. that I will cause you no harm. I will speak to you the truth. I will address the wisdom that is you. I will not take anything from you that is not offered, and I offer to you that which is beneficial. So this is a way human beings we establish something good for each other. And also, it becomes the basis of ease, and the same principle also becomes the basis of good business. So in our community, there's something we call a business Guduji, and there is one person who's really he's taken those teachings very well, and he's applied them very well. And that's Guduji means a society of like-minded people. And basically, all business activity is based upon mutual respect, activity that will benefit all participants in the field, and honesty. And if there is not any of that, then we don't do business together. Because it is better to work with people who are aligned, and when you are not able to work with someone, you also give very clear reason why. Here are the parameters of how we are to be. For example, with teenagers occasionally, they want to say, well, I'm not going to do it your way, and I had enough of you telling me how to run my life, and I'm older now, and I'm wiser now. And if you want to control them, then they will hide from you, and you'll never know what's going on. If you speak with each other and say, well, son or daughter, I found out these things, and they had benefit for me. I found that first I consider what I want to accomplish, and I also throw out everything that people said couldn't be done. Anything that people told me I couldn't do, I threw it out. And people told me that. And they've told you that. But no, that's not possible. No, this is not possible. So that you throw out. And then the other projections of, well, it's not safe, or I can't really trust that person. Well, what's not safe? If you're going to the edge of a precipice, you see it, you step back. Safety is really based on only two things: the fear of loud noises and falling down. Falling down could also mean lack of success, lack of attainment. And the loud noises, well, whatever loud noise disturbs you, that was interesting. That was the earth. She just made a little thump thump. Well, loud noises, they speak to us and they tell us about change. So when we're with our families and friends, we think, okay, what's the boundaries of good relationship? Well, I know when I consider the best in you and I see your abilities and address them, I know you will bring them forth. The how, I can share how it went with this life, and the how is your path. We can look to others about what they've discovered, like certainly Timaeus made very clear. He was an ancient Greek philosopher that took we call them Platonic solids, although it was Timaeus who went into more detail about what these shapes meant. So these shapes also are about creating not only form on a subatomic level, it's also about patterns of good relationship. So conceptualize what is the ideal and visualize it. And then consider all those thought forms and belief structures that are not supportive, that are basically conditioned view, and place them in the garden that they become compost for the wisdom seed to grow. And then begin to weed from the garden of your mind those thoughts, those belief systems. So this thought, human beings not good enough, not enough, not enough. This is chatter, and that it was actually promulgated in the educational system that some beings are not good enough. And so recognize you have the gift of a human body, you have intelligence to view and observe. That means one is worthy. So plucking from the garden the weeds of discontent. Sometimes those weeds of discontent are, well, somebody has it a little bit easier, or somebody's garden looks a little bit better, or somebody's life is this or that. Well, those are seeds of discontent, and from Cherokee perspective, they are like a dangerous weed, because then you forget and don't acknowledge the gifts that you have, the gifts that are already within you. So, when it arises, somebody's life is a little bit this or that, they have it easier than I, because human condition, these things happen. See it like a weed of discontent, and as it's pulled, as you offer it to the compost heap, may this appearance of discontent fall away and support the arising wisdom and skill that I call for and that I wish for in my life. Because we don't want to push away our possibility, we want to invite it. So we don't run from the emotions. We see the emotions in a sense as energy potentials, and emotion arising. What is its awakened state? Where is the positive state of it? There's not, your emotions are your emotions, they're energy. And so trying to run from them, you cannot. When you see, this is arising, this energy, let me offer this, that others can be free of this appearance of fear. May that which I think I am afraid of, may others also be free from such appearance of this fear. And may that fear reveal the awakened, abundant state. So just as there are different faces on the tetrahedron, the octahedron, there are also different faces upon our emotions. And so in caring for each other, we invite the wisdom potential. And we communicate that, it's not what I want, let me hear. Let me hear what it is you wish to share. So we take a short break. It is 11:30 now, and then we'll return. 15 minutes good enough, or 15 minutes is good enough, and I will meditate. Apologies. No, it's cleansing.
Yeah, it started just before I left to come here.
And what were you doing just before then?
Well, I was working, but I think I did a lot of practice in the summer solstice. And I think...
Did you look at the sun?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but I did practice with Shan, and then I did some Kundalini practice.
Okay. Yeah, so we want to get your wings back in your belly. Yeah. So that's your focus.
Yeah.
Wind in the belly.
Yeah, it's been a little challenging with the camping.
I know.
But, you know, I just don't let it bother me that much.
Yes. Okay.
I'm happy to be here. And this seems to be working out, and there's a fantastic recorder in this. It's the best one I've ever found. So I'm also just backing it up with this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Tori. Tori, will you just
How
turn
are
that
you,
light on?
Richard?
Nice to see you.
Good to see
This
you.
is from Germany.
Good. And you put it in there for me?
Should I put that in there too?
Yes. Will it leak? I'll put it on the table.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. And right in front.
I'm gonna just switch out.
Do you know of any other bed and breakfasts nearby?
Other than the Firefly, the hotel, the one up in by Jerusalem.
Can you give that information to Jennifer?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.